Good morning, students. My name is P. Ramakrishnan Das, lecturer in English, Dr. LHR Government Degree College, Mayalapuram. The topic that we are going to discuss now is active passive voice. Before we begin the topic, we shall first understand the basic word structure of English language. English language follows SVO word structure. That is, it always begins with a subject, which is followed by a verb, and it generally ends with an object, if there is any. We'll be getting some sentences in which there might not be objects. The first thing we need to understand is for the for a sentence to be transformed into a passive construction, it is always essential for us to have an object. Without having an object, it is not possible to passivize a sentence in a general way. So look at the examples here. The first example is Rama killed Ravana. Here, Rama is the subject, killed is the verb, the action that has taken place. Ravana is the object. This Rama in this sentence is the doer of the action. He is the one who is performing the act of killing Ravana. So we call him the doer of the action. The action that has taken place here is killing. This Ravana is called the receiver of the action. The person who is getting affected by that particular act is called the receiver of the action. So we shall be very clear about these terms. The one who is performing the action is called the doer of the action. The act is this, the verb, and the one who is getting infected by that particular act is called the receiver of the action. When we are transforming an active sentence into passive, we do certain things. The first one is the object is written as the subject, and the subject is right at the position of the object, and this active verb is to be transformed into a passive verb. A passive verb is formed with the addition of a be form verb. We generally say that be form verb plus V3, the past participle form of the verb, is called a passive form of the verb. See here, the Rama has gone into the object position, the Ravana has taken the subject position, and the verb has transformed into a passive verb. These are the basic things that we follow when we transform an active sentence into a passive sentence. The first is the subject needs to be written as an object. Object takes the subject position, and the verb needs to be transformed into a passive verb by doing what? By adding be form verb to the past participle form of the verb given in the sentence. So having completed this, we shall clearly understand the basic difference between an active sentence and a passive sentence. See, in the first example, which is in active mode, Rama is the doer of the action and is in subject position. So for a sentence to be in active voice, the subject must also be the doer of the action. That must be the one who is performing the action. Whereas in the second sentence, that is not happening. Ravana is the subject here, still he is not the doer of the action. He is not the one who is performing that particular act of killing. In fact, he is the receiver of the action. Here, the receiver of the action is in subject position, so it is in passive voice. Here, the doer of the action is in subject position, so it is active sentence. So by this, we can conclude that a subject must also be a doer of the action when it is an active sentence. When that condition is not getting fulfilled, it is called a passive sentence. That is the basic difference. And the other thing that we do is this object is preceded with a preposition by. be forms. We have been talking about be form verbs. What all the be form verbs that we have in English? We have the following list of be form verbs. What are they? Be, am, is, are, was, were, been, being. These be form verbs will be selected by us based on the tense in which we are constructing a sentence. Based on the tense of a sentence, these be form verbs will be chosen and used along with the past participle form. For our convenience, we have written it here as V3, the past participle form, in order to form a passive verb. The passive form of a verb is be form verb plus V3. And the list of be form verbs are be, am, is, are, was, were, been, be. Next, it is very important uh, information that we need to know about active and passive voice. We have so far talked about the construction of a passive form, a passive sentence. Now we will look at the conditions during which we use this passive voice. The passive voice is specifically used in the following situations. What are they? The first situation is to draw the attention to the receiver rather than the doer. When in a sentence, the doer is not important and the receiver will be receiving the focus, we use passive voice. In a sentence, when doer of the action is not kept in focus and it is the receiver of the action who is receiving focus, we use passive voice. Let's have a look at the example given here. Soldiers were given a warm reception by the people. Here, the focus is on the noun soldiers rather than the people who have done it, the doer of the action or the people. In this sentence, these people are not important comparatively to the soldiers. The next condition, the doer is not relevant to the context, unknown or too well understood. In all the following conditions, we use passive voice. House was cleaned before the guests arrived. In this one, this doer of the action is not relevant to the context. We are not concentrating on the person who has done the act of cleaning the house. We are only focusing on the event of house cleaning, not the person who has done it. In that case, we use passive voice. The glass was broken. The act of this glass was broken has taken place, but it is not known who has done it. The doer of the action is not known, he is unknown. When the doer of the action is not known to the speaker, he generally uses a passive voice. Next one, the righties were arrested. Here, the doer of the action is very well understood because the righties were arrested. Who will arrest the people when they who will arrest the people who offend? It is generally the police. Okay. Now we will see in what other situations this passive voice is generally used. In newspaper reports, we find the usage of passive construction generally. In scientific and technical writing, in all these, passive voice is generally used because of the reason that here the focus is on the event or process than the agent. Agent is not important, agent is not or never important when it is compared to the process. Here the focus is on process. When the process is given the focus, we use passive voice. The other thing is when we want to conceal the identity of the viewer or the agent. People in general are the performers of the action. Here we have got the example. Today a lot of money is being spent on food, clothes and entertainment. Here passive voice is used because it is the people who are spending money on food, clothes, and entertainment. It is generally understood. There is no need for it to be explicitly mentioned. Next, we will see the active passive voice table. Earlier, we have discussed be form verbs, and we have claimed that these be form verbs will be selected by us based on the tense in which we are constructing a sentence. So, in simple present tense, we take am or is or as be form verbs, and it is always added with the past participle form of the verb. For our convenience sake, we are saying it as V3. We are terming it as V3. In simple past tense, the be form verbs that we use are was or were. Based on the number, if it is a singular number, we use was. If it is a plural number, we use were. And next is simple future tense. The basic construction of simple future tense is will or shall plus V1. We shall have a look at the sentence here. They will eat salads. So by looking at this sentence, by looking at this will plus V1 construction, we'll come to understand that this sentence is in future. If any sentence is in future tense, we make use of the be form verb be. If it is in future tense, we take be form verb be in order to transform an active sentence into a passive sentence. So, salads will or shall be eaten by them. Present perfect tense. The basic construction of present perfect tense is have or has or eaten. They have eaten salads. When we transform this sentence into passive voice, salads have been eaten by them. Here the be form verb that we have used is been. Past perfect tense. Past perfect tense had eaten. They had eaten salads. The object has taken the subject position. We begin the sentence with salads have been eaten by them. Had been eaten by them. Next. Future perfect tense. Will or shall have eaten. They will have eaten salads. Salads will have been eaten by them. Present continuous tense. Is, am, are eating. They are eating salads. Salads are being eaten by them. And when the object is not a noun or an NP but a clause, what is to be done when the object is not a noun phrase? In fact, when it is, instead of being a noun phrase, if it is a noun clause, what needs to be done? Here we have got some examples to look into. Everyone says that this government should go. Everyone is the subject here. Says is the verb. That this government should go is the object. What we need to understand here is it is not an NP. It is not a noun phrase or a noun. It is in fact a noun clause. It is a whole sentence that has occurred in the object position. In these types of sentences, we make use of this it. It is said. The passive form of says is it is said that the government should go. All the remaining noun clause should be enclosed within the sentence. The same is the case with the second one also. They believed that the child was safe. It is believed, the passive form of believed, and all the remaining noun clause that the child was safe. Ravi feels that the weather will improve. Ravi is felt is the passive form of feels by Venu that the weather will not improve. Here, this by Venu can be omitted based on our purpose. Hope you have understood the session. Thank you very much.